Okay, I pressed record.
Do you or someone you know have an irrational fear? A fear of birds, perhaps?
I have an irrational fear of birds.
Makes no sense to me. I don't know where it stems from, but something in your childhood just turned you off to flying things.
I can't really pinpoint it to anything because there really wasn't anything that ever happened for me to be so afraid. But my whole life I have been terrified.
Was it Alfred Hitchcock's
Birds?
book, The
Yeah, I
Birds?
did. I watched that. That didn't help
Because
the
I
cause.
remember that as a
That didn't
child.
help. But anyways, my fear of bird is what makes the story of the mourning dove so interesting.
Oh, there he goes.
Because is it behind us?
No, he just flew across the street.
There's this bird that visits us. And so the whole thing started after my son passed. My nephew one day sends me a text message and he's like, he lives in the Bronx and he's standing at his window sipping his coffee. And he says there's this bird that he's never seen before. It's an interesting looking bird.
And we're both thinking it's pigeons.
Yeah, we're like, well, what else is in the Bronx? He's like, it was just looking at him. So his partner said, why don't you take a picture and look it up? And he does. And he sends me
A photo.
a photo of the bird and a description of what the bird is. And it's a mourning dove. And the mourning dove is a bird that visits you when you're going through sorrow and pain. And it's a symbol of peace. It's supposed to bring peace and hope. So he sends that to me and I'm like, oh my God, that is so sweet. So I share it with the family. And next thing, my younger son lives here with us, says, Mom, that same bird is at my window. Now, we don't know that it's the same bird.
True. It could have been any random dove, but to make these cameo appearances, particularly in front of our family members, and make himself able to be spotted, observed, watched, and not just fly away like most pigeons or most easily frightened birds, this made it interesting. So
he sends me a picture of the bird, and I'm like, wow, okay. I was like, do you guys think, we're not sure, we're like, and birds, out of all animals, birds that I'm so afraid of. But then I start to see this bird. First of all, I hear the song.
I heard it and I thought it was an owl.
Yeah, because they say they sing a song of sorrow, and the sound is like, ooh.
Okay, so I was sitting in the living room folding these clothes, and I heard like a bird. I heard a singing, a humming, and I went to look. It's the mourning dove. I'm gonna go feed it.
So I'm hearing this song, and I'm like, what is that? And I look out my window, and there's the bird.
Right there on the outside the window.
So I'm like, oh my God, like, I think this is him. I think this may be him. I don't know. I want to believe so much that it is. So I tell Randy, and I'm like, if it is, then we need to make sure that it knows it's welcome, because I don't want my fear to push it away.
So I got the message loud and clear. She wants a place welcoming of birds. So what was my next plan? To try to appease Mari, support. So I took some scrap lumber from the garage, and my kids and I put together an arsenal of birdhouses, which were not intended for the turtle dove. They were a little bit too small. They were for smaller birds. But in addition, since turtle doves like to forage on the ground, we made one birdhouse specifically for them on the ground level.
So since we've first spotted this bird, it visits us every day. It was just here right before we started recording.
Yep.
And it's here every day. We walk in and it'll be at our front stoop. And then we go upstairs, it'll come to the window upstairs. And sometimes if we're in the living room, it'll sit on our porch and look inside the living room. And it's just, I don't know. It makes me emotional sometimes when I see it, because I think, like, was that the reason why I feared birds to begin with? Was it because in somewhere deep down inside, I knew that when I loved the birds, it would be because I had lost
Something bigger.
something.
Yeah.
Maybe there was I don't know. I don't know if it makes sense, but I
I'm like
just
waiting for one to pull up on my shoulder over here on the balcony edge behind me. I'm
I
just
just know
waiting
that
for it.
since this happened, our house literally has become a birdhouse.
Not inside.
Not inside, but outside. Like literally one day I'm walking up my street and I look at my house and there must have been like 30 birds, different species, all lined up in front of on our porch. And and the turtle dove, which is the mourning dove, is there also. And it's like I'm like, oh hey, so you
Your
brought all our
friends.
you brought all our ancestors too. I wonder who's who. But since then, my fear is completely
Vanished.
gone. I'm no longer afraid. This irrational fear and the panic that I would feel when a bird would come near me now has become I'm honored, I'm excited, I want them to come closer. And I feel I don't know, I feel like a spiritual closeness to them now.
That's amazing. I mean, just that's a complete 180, just from absolute to
Oh, it came
and he's on the railing right
and it's
there.
on the railing.
He's on the
Actually, I'm gonna
railing
turn
right
it
there.
around. There he is, peeking at us
Ah,
through the branches.
there he is.
I think that's him.
Andy.
Hey, Andy.